Good morning, everybody. Happy rainy Monday. I'm Mindie Barnett, and welcome to More with Mindie. Today, I am joined by an incredible woman. She is an attorney extraordinaire. She is a personality like no other, and she's got a plethora of information that she's going to share with all of us. Welcome, Elura Nanos.
Thanks so much, Mindie. It's so great to be here.
Oh, it's so awesome to have you sitting on my couch, my new set. Isn't it awesome?
It's pretty awesome.
Thanks,
yeah.
with a touch of pink.
Yeah, love it.
Okay, so let's get right into it. So you obviously are a practicing attorney, and you've explored obviously the legal realm and in the courtroom and defending your clients and all of that. How did you get into that? And then you became this television star to boot. So let's go ahead.
I have to tell you, my entire career, and it is an odd career. I'm one of those people where I cringe when I meet someone at a party and they say, so what do you do? Because I want to be able to just answer. I know they don't really need a half an hour of me explaining my career, but it really takes a long time. And I started my career as a prosecutor. I prosecuted child abuse cases in New York City. Mm-hmm. It was extremely rewarding work. And I moved because I got married and had to get a different job. And I attacked that world of pinstripes and mahogany desks and secretaries and my secretary watered my plants and that whole thing. And I realized pretty quickly it wasn't for me.
Why not?
I was bored.
Were you?
I was bored, and the reason I became a lawyer was because I like people and I want to do things with passion, and it just did not have that personal connection because most of my clients were big businesses with lots of money, and it's a great career for someone, just not for me.
I get it. You don't like to be behind the desk all day.
No, I mean, I wanted to be in court. I wanted to do stuff that was exciting, and I wanted to connect with people in a meaningful way. And what I learned after, saying, hey, this isn't for me, is the importance of making sure that when you're working, that you are thrilled to put your whole heart into it. Mm-hmm. And I walked out and I started a business with nothing more than $20 worth of cookie dough.
That's an incredible story.
And it's not a cookie business.
Right. Let's get into that, because I think that was like, I guess, your intermission. Yeah. I have my book Intermission, so I always like to try to bring it in when I can. So that was like your breaking point in a sense that turned into like your new reinvention and being creative. So you came to that epiphany.
I came to that epiphany. I said, I can't do this because I hate it. I was going to work and crying every day. And there should be no crying at work. There really should be no crying at work.
I agree with that.
So I left, and I said, well, let me think about what I love and what I'm good at. And I love people. Mm-hmm. I really loved the law. I loved going to law school. I understood going to school. I was a terrific student. And I said, I really want to take what I've learned and help somebody else who might need this. So what I did was I went to Costco. I bought one of those giant buckets of pre-made cookie dough. I kid you not. I baked 500 cookies. I put a little tag on each one that had like a little clever saying. And I drove my butt to my law school.
Which was
New York Law School in Lower Manhattan, and I handed the cookies out to students. And I said, listen, your mouth is full, so you're going to be quiet, and I'm going to tell you about this case.
While they were eating the cookies?
While they were eating, because that was the only way to get them to shut up, but their mouth was full. So I gave them the cookies, and I explained to them contract law, constitutional law, and they were like, what a great explanation. I was like, I know, right? You want me to come back tomorrow? Tomorrow, no cookies. Tomorrow, you pay. And you know what? It totally worked. And I said, I don't know how long this is going to work, but it's working today.
That's great.
So I'm going to keep doing this. And I did that for a long time, and I enjoyed every single minute of it. It allowed me to have children and create my own schedule and be there for my children when they were babies and still use my professional degree and really have a rewarding career. And one day, I got the attention of Oprah Winfrey, and she gave my business partner and me a TV show on her network. And
that's incredible. She heard about you and your crazy cookies and how you were really creatively starting this industry.
Mindie, I would love to say that she just noticed me. She did not notice me. That's my next lesson, right? You want to get noticed, you have to do it yourself.
Yeah, you have to be like, hey, I'm here.
Right. And what happened was, people were always telling my business partner and me, you guys are so great, you should be on TV. And we were like, oh, that's nice, like what a nice compliment. And then someone
because you're so dynamic in personality.
It was a wonderful compliment, but I didn't know that it had anything to do with anything.
Right.
And finally, someone I trusted said, it's not a compliment, it's advice. And I said, great, how do I get on TV? And she said, I don't know, you figure it out, you're a lawyer. So one day, we Googled, my partner and me, we Googled, how do you get on TV?
Are you serious?
I'm absolutely serious. And it said, find a production company. So I Googled, what's a production company? And literally picked up the phone and said, hi, I'm supposed to be on TV. And they said, what do you do? And I said, I don't really know. Am I supposed to do something? And I confused the hell out of these people. But they said, I don't know, you sound kind of cool. Why don't you come in? And I was like, yeah. So I got my hair blown out. I trekked up to Manhattan, and they thought it was fun. They said, what do you do? I said, I explain contract law in a way that makes it fun. And they were like, yeah, you should be on TV. They filmed it, they told Oprah, she bought it, and the rest is history.
That's incredible. That's an amazing story.
But you know, people always say, you know, it doesn't matter what you know, it matters who you know.
I
knew nobody.
Yeah,
I knew nobody, and I knew nothing.
Yeah.
But what I did do is I was honest. I called these people and I said, I don't even know what I'm asking. I don't know if I'm asking for you to hire me or for me to hire you. I literally have no idea what this conversation is about. But do you think you would help me just so that the next conversation I sound a little smarter? And you know what?
They embraced you.
They did, because they knew that I wasn't giving some kind of canned speech. They knew I was for real.
Right.
And
authenticity.
Absolutely.
It pays.
And you know this.
Yeah.
It pays. If you know something, great. But if you don't know it,
don't fake it.
Don't fake it, because it doesn't pay to fake it. And people will want to naturally help you. So if you give them the chance, they'll take it.
That's incredible. So you did your show, Staten Island Law, which was on the OWN network?
Yeah, it was on the Oprah Winfrey Network.
Right, okay.
Great experience. I would never have in a million years imagined being on a reality show. It was quite a wild ride. It didn't really go any place that I expected it to, but what happened is from there, I sort of developed this whole other side of my career, doing media analysis, going on television, doing talk shows, news analysis. I'm now a bona fide member of the media. I'm a columnist. And all these things that seemed really totally unreachable to someone like me became what I do every day. And I just think that's incredible. And not everyone has a goal to be on television or to be out in the media. But if that could happen to me with literally no clue what I was doing, no inside contacts, just the kind of willingness to say yes when things came my way and to explore things openly.
And work hard.
And work hard,
and throw your heart and soul into it.
And not try to be something I'm not.
And you have a lot of energy and an incredible dynamic personality and charisma, which also counts for something in the world of TV. Yes, definitely.
But I mean, it's just so interesting that I remember when I first began, I remember saying to the producer, I don't think I'm quite pretty enough to be on TV. Are you sure that this would be okay? I said, because I don't look like a model and I don't have any experience acting or doing anything like that. So I was really uncomfortable about it.
Really?
I was really uncomfortable.
First of all, you're beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you.
And second of all, that is like so not important in the scheme of things. I mean, a little aesthetics.
It is.
I mean, depending.
And it was a real lesson to me, because I honestly waited. I waited for people to say to me, professionals to say, you're terrific, I'm very sorry, but you're too ugly for TV. And it turned out, so I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just pretend that I'm good looking enough for TV. I'm just going to pretend. And maybe no one will notice. And you know what? I pretended. It turns out nobody cares.
Elura, you're beautiful.
But isn't it? But don't you think it was such? But it was a
we're our own worst critics.
Absolutely.
I mean, I look in the mirror some days and I'm like, oh, Mindie, please.
But I mean, it was the thing is, it was a wonderful lesson.
Yes.
In how you see yourself is not necessarily how
the way the world does.
See you.
Well, it's that movie, I Feel Pretty.
Yeah,
I wrote about that sort of concept in my book too. Feeling good from the inside out, you know, and looking in the mirror and really seeing yourself as a beautiful.
And you know, you've been on camera, and you know that positive energy really does translate.
Yes.
And it's just, it was just a major awakening for me to realize that the things I thought might hold me back honestly had nothing to do with where my career was actually going.
Because people didn't see you in that way. But
so
anyway.
It's an important lesson.
Very strong lesson. So now you're doing a bunch of things, as you mentioned, some of which includes the Law and Crime Network with Dan Abrams, which is amazing. So let's talk a little bit about that, because you're actually, unlike a talking head type of attorney that's going on a variety of different things, you have like a bona fide place there, and you're an editor, and you're in the courtroom, and you're covering cases. You covered Cosby.
I did, and I've had, this is incredible. So we're living in a time where the average American is more interested than ever before in our own government, in the law, in the legal system, and it's for a number of reasons. Part of it is because of politics, but that's really not the only reason. Part of it is because of ongoing media and social media, because we're used to seeing things in the courtroom. We're used to seeing cameras everywhere. We're used to getting live updates on what's happening. So because of that, there is a very real need for on-the-spot analysis from experts about what's happening in important cases and in the government and in politics.
So they understand.
Exactly.
And they're not just looking at Facebook and kind of reading other people's, like, I guess, synopsis that aren't necessarily as educated as someone like yourself. Right.
And not everything, you know, today in the world of cable news, we see so much debating, and debating can be great, but debating is not always the best way to learn what's happening.
Sure.
So Law and Crime Network is like the new Court TV. Many of the people behind it, including Dan Abrams, were involved in the original Court TV. And now this is a 24-hour trial network where we're in the courtroom, gavel to gavel, covering major cases, and everyone on set is there to do live analysis. So the judge may take a break unannounced. There may be a sidebar going on. None of this is announced. This is live. We're watching it in the courtroom as it's unfolding.
Wow.
And then the cameras are going to us and saying, well, what just happened? And we're literally processing it on the spot.
So it's like breaking news and obviously in the legal realm.
As it gets.
Yeah.
It is as breaking as it gets. No one else is doing this. No one else has ever done this, because even when Court TV was on, the people who were personalities on it were primarily reporters reporting on what had happened and maybe giving follow-up analysis, but it wasn't live analysis.
Right.
This is, I mean, minute to minute. So I covered the Bill Cosby case. It was very exciting. Court would break, and I would literally run outside and Skype in from the courthouse.
Wow.
So it's really a cool thing to watch for anyone who's interested in following big cases, in learning about law, especially true crime. We have some great lawyers on there doing great work, and it's really an interesting eye into our justice system.
That's very cool. Very, very cool. And I'm sure it's a lot of pressure because you don't really have a lot of time to prepare.
No, there's no point.
So you either sink or swim, and I'm certain you have your swimmies out.
I kind of like it. I kind of like
No, it's fun. That's what I used to like about news, like that adrenaline rush and all of that. All right, we're going to be right back. We have lots more to talk about with Elura Nanos.
Thanks, man.
We're going to get into some women topics. If you need a lawyer, if you should have one in your back pocket, and a little later on in the conversation, me too. So stay with us.
Interest, where robots and fat cats rule our fortunes. One woman will stand up and strive to do the impossible. Be treated like a person. Friends and neighbors will join her quest. Ordinary people will band together against the forces of corporate greed. And together they will form Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, already in a neighborhood near you.
Assurance. It's a word, a touch, a look that sparks a feeling. Peace of mind that everything will be all right. These are the moments that inspire us to do more than you'd ever expect from a car insurance company, at a price that's less than you'd expect. This is more than just insurance. This is Plymouth Rock Assurance. Visit us at PlymouthRock.com.
Hi, my name's Casey Price, host of a brand new show called Everyday Elder Care. My show will help you take the stress out of caring for your elderly loved one by educating you about options and solutions you may not even know exist. Tune in every Tuesday at noon on RVN TV. We'll see you there.
Imagine the finest hand-selected USDA prime steak you'll ever have. The freshest line-caught seafood, our Wine Spectator award-winning wine list, and soul-satisfying desserts. Bring that together with the perfect date, the winning business deal, a memorable family celebration. Welcome to Rod's Steak and Seafood Grill in nearby Morristown, New Jersey. Bring your appetite and feed your passion.
independent living for seniors age 62 and over, People Inc. offers safe, maintenance-free apartments across Western New York. The affordable rent is income-based. For more information, call People Inc. Senior Living at 817-9090.
In a world where bankers have lost all interest, where robots and fat cats rule our fortunes, one woman will stand up and strive to do the impossible. Be treated like a person. Friends and neighbors will join her quest. Ordinary people will band together against the forces of corporate greed. And together they will form Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, already in a neighborhood near you.
Assurance. It's a word, a touch, a look that sparks a feeling. Peace of mind that everything will be all right. These are the moments that inspire.
Welcome back, everybody, to More with Mindie. I'm your host, Mindie Barnett, and today we are talking ladies and law, and I have a fabulous legal expert, television personality extraordinaire, Elura Nanos, joining us this morning.
Thanks so much.
Thanks again for being here. So now we're going to delve in a little bit into when you should have a lawyer, how you find a lawyer, and when you should have one in your back pocket, and like obviously some parental for 411, et cetera.
So okay. I think the first thing that you said is, when do you have a lawyer? When do you need a lawyer?
Not when you're in trouble.
Not when you're in trouble.
Right.
That's the answer, right? Not when you cannot build an airplane when you're flying in the air. Like, that is not the time. And it's very funny to me that regular people who don't deal with complex legal issues on a day-to-day basis tend to think of the lawyer like the dentist. Like, I don't want to go to this person. It's going to be painful. They know it's going to be expensive because, let's face it, it's going to be expensive. So they avoid that. And it's like going to a lawyer is like the last case scenario, you know? And I totally understand that. And I by no means am advocating like go out and use a lawyer for every tiny thing you do in your life. But here's the thing. We all need to have someone in our corner at some point in our life.
You need an advocate.
You need an advocate at some point. You don't need an advocate every day. Many of us can advocate for ourselves.
Right.
And by the way, a wonderful use of having a lawyer in certain situations is for them to tell you how to advocate for yourself. That's something that I do very often with people. Where I sit down,
the advice.
I give them advice, I explain the law, and then they go on their way and they make their own case. And I'm not talking about in litigation, but in other scenarios, at an IEP meeting for your child, for example, at a work negotiation, at maybe a hearing for unemployment or whatever it is. There are many situations that you don't necessarily need to have an attorney with you, but you do need to know the law.
Or two, not to interrupt you, but if you're having an issue, and we'll get into that after this break, but but if you're having an issue with a coworker or maybe your boss, or it's a human resources issue, and you're not sure exactly how to handle it, what's appropriate to say, what's not, or if they're out of line.
I mean, and if you think about the way we get doctors in our life, right? All of us have a doctor that we would go to if we got sick. That doesn't mean we want to get sick. It doesn't mean we're planning to get sick.
But you have them in your back pocket.
But we know what the general plan would be. And most of us know that if we had a more serious medical problem, we would just call our primary care doctor and say, who should I go to? And that's the plan, and that works within the medical context. But within a legal context, most of us who are not lawyers and aren't married to lawyers, don't have parents who are lawyers, if you got arrested, got sued, would honestly have absolutely no idea who to call. And this is something that I see even more so with women.
Why is that, Laura? Why do you think?
I truthfully, I don't know, because most of the women that I know are very busy running their households, and they're very effective at this. They're wonderful advocates for their children. They're keeping it together for their husband if they're married. And yet, dealing with lawyers is something that it's very stressful, and maybe it's because the practice of law was traditionally a male-dominated field.
That could be.
It's also because people are afraid of lawyers.
Right.
Lawyers are there to work with words, and often inadvertently sometimes, but make people feel condescended to and frightened. So that's why I wrote a book called How to Talk to Your Lawyer, and it's with that type of client in mind that I wrote that book.
Oh, that's great.
To say, this is not good. lawyers are no different in many ways than a great carpenter or a great plumber or an interior decorator, where they're going to provide a valuable service for you, and you're going to appreciate it. You're going to want to pay fair market value for that service, and you're not going to leave the interaction feeling miserable about it.
I also feel like, at least from the consumer's perspective, it's not necessarily mine, but I feel as though sometimes people might think that's I guess an extra expenditure. It's sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Just like, you know, not frivolous, but something like extra that you don't necessarily, not a necessity.
Absolutely.
Sort of
Absolutely.
like you mentioned the dentist. You know, in PR, I represent some dentists, and some of the stories we do in the news is the fact that you do need to maintain your dental hygiene. You do need to maintain your dental health, because you can not only have a decayed mouth, but you could have like heart failure, you could have blood disease.
Causes other things.
So it's all the same kind of thing, right? In the legal space.
It is, but let me say this. I don't know that it's even necessary to spend a dime. Okay?
No, but just to have somebody, do the research, do your homework.
Do some research, and also think about who do you know that maybe works within the world of law. So perhaps you have a college roommate who became a prosecutor. Well, maybe you don't need a criminal lawyer in Idaho where that person lives, but a good use of that connection is to know, okay, if I ever had a problem, I could call that person and ask for a referral. Asking a lawyer or any professional for a referral is not the same thing as asking the person to do a favor for you.
Right, right.
Okay, asking for a referral is in some ways doing a favor for them.
Right.
Because now you're allowing that person to call a colleague and say, hey, I have some business for you. That's a wonderful interaction.
Right,
That is totally different than someone saying, hey, you're a lawyer, right? Can you answer this question? What if I go into a bar and I like, I can't tell you if I had $1 for every person that said that to me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so don't ask questions like that. Don't give people weird hypotheticals and ask them what you should do while you're on the street dropping your kids off. But you can certainly ask someone, hey, look, I need to hire someone to write a will. Do you have any referrals? And I think that that's the best use of that.
How do you find a lawyer? You were mentioning that, we were talking a little bit off camera. I think that's obviously important information to share. I mean, obviously lawyers, just like many professionals, unbeknownst to me in my PR hat, do quite a bit of advertising. So, and that's fine. There's some good ones that do that.
Absolutely.
There's some bad ones that do that.
Absolutely.
So what's the best way, like rule of thumb, if you don't know anybody in the space?
First of all, I think you need to think about what you're hiring the person to do. And that's the most important step. Because in different areas of law, there are different requirements. There are times that you're going to want somebody to be very, very aggressive on your behalf. There are other times that you might want somebody to be a really good negotiator, okay? But at the end of the day, you need to have a positive relationship with that person. If you're afraid of the lawyer, the relationship is never going to work, okay? And I have seen people hire lawyers that they dislike because they think that the fact that the person is an arrogant SOB makes them a great lawyer.
Yeah.
And I understand that, but it's not a good system. And hiring the lawyer because you saw his name on the side of a bus is not a good system, okay? What you need to do is speak with someone within that area, whether it's a client or another professional, and say, this is the kind of lawyer I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone who is very pro-settlement. I'm looking for someone who's very aggressive. I'm looking for someone who's very easy to talk to. And you can ask people for referrals. You can, that's a great use of social media to ask, has anybody worked with this person?
Right.
What are you, speak up about these things. And again, that's another way, another reason it's important to look for these people before you're in a crisis. Because then you can easily say, I just want to have someone on file, as opposed to, I'm in the middle of a major crisis, my child just got arrested for DWI, who do I call?
Right, then you're scrambling, and you may not have the luxury to do the due diligence and trying to do the research and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, all right, when we come right back, in just a minute, we're going to talk more with Elura, a little bit more about the workplace, the Me Too movement, and when not to seek the help of an attorney. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
To do more than you'd ever expect from a car insurance company at a price that's less than you'd expect. This is more than just insurance. This is Plymouth Rock Assurance. Visit us at PlymouthRock.com.
my name's Casey Price, host of a brand new show called Everyday Elder Care. My show will help you take the stress out of caring for your elderly loved one by educating you about options and solutions you may not even know exist. Tune in every Tuesday at noon on RVN TV. We'll see you there.
Imagine the finest hand-selected USDA prime steak you'll ever have. The freshest line-caught seafood, our Wine Spectator award-winning wine list, and soul-satisfying desserts. Bring that together with the perfect date, the winning business deal, a memorable family celebration. Welcome to Rod's Steak and Seafood Grill in nearby Morristown, New Jersey. Bring your appetite and feed your passion.
Welcome back to More with Mindie. Mindie Barnett, joined with Elura Nanos one last time, and now we're going to get right into it, okay?
Let's go.
All right, so you're at work, you're feeling a little iffy about a certain situation. How, like, the whole Me Too thing is amazing. It's obviously bringing up a lot of conversation, enlightening a lot of people, but it's also creating a lot of confusion.
Yep.
All right, so let's get into it, some of the issues that could arise and when you might need an attorney's advice and
Sure.
might not.
Let's just break it down in the basics before we go anywhere.
Okay. Yep.
First of all, we have sexual harassment and we have sexual assault.
What's the difference?
These
well,
are
assault's like, boom, right?
Like, they are two different words.
Right.
Sexual assault is a crime.
Right.
Okay? And sexual assault is what happens when you have one person touching another person without the person's consent.
Mm-hmm.
There are obviously many degrees of sexual assault, but if you are in a situation where someone has physically touched you, made some kind of physical contact with you.
And what would that be, like touching someone's knee?
Well, funny that it's actually funny you should ask that. So in order for it to be sexual assault,
to me.
In order for it to be sexual assault in most states, right? We have to look at the statute, but in most states it requires a sexual touching without consent. So the question is, what's a sexual touching?
Correct.
Well, the things that you know are sexual touchings count. Anytime you're touching someone in a private area without their consent, that counts. Then there's the sort of softer ones, where a person touches you in a non-sexual area, your back, your knee, your ankle, your hair, right? But they're doing it for a sexual reason.
Right.
Now, you may or may not know that. I'm going to tell you, I'm one of the few people where I have a Me Too story that's actually really funny. I know I shouldn't.
Is it short? I want to hear it.
Yeah. So when I was a new lawyer, I was a prosecutor in court.
Right.
And there was another lawyer, much older than me, who used to fondle my hair when I was speaking in front of the judge. He would reach around and touch my hair.
That's horrendous.
It was bizarre. So the first couple of times,
been like,
it was so strange. So the first couple of times it happened, I honestly thought I was imagining it. And then as time went by, he kind of escalated. And I didn't realize until much later that, oh, he must have had like some kind of weird hair fetish. But the thing is, that certainly did count as sexual assault because he touched me without my consent.
So you could have taken him to court?
Well, I wouldn't have needed to take him to court. He could have been prosecuted criminally.
Right.
So, and granted, you know, it's nowhere near the same thing as someone who has suffered a violent assault or anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
But even things like that, if it was done for the other person's gratification, count as assault. But that stuff is call the police, get a prosecutor in there, go to the doctor. I mean, this is serious business criminal stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then you can talk about civil cases well after that's done. But this is a criminal matter.
Right.
Sexual harassment, on the other hand, is really a whole different ballgame. Sexual harassment is an employment law issue. Okay. So first of all, if you're suing someone for harassing you, meaning they haven't touched you, but they've either said things, they've made your environment uncomfortable, they've kind of hit on you, maybe they've had pictures up in their office that are inappropriate, things like that.
Of other people?
Of you, of other people. I mean,
just not it'd be inappropriate.
You know, inappropriate sexual jokes, things like that.
Right.
So if we're talking about that type of behavior, this is an employment issue, which means if you're not talking about someone you work with, there's nothing you can do about it. That's called life. go about your business, get away from that
Like
person.
a friend and coffee, something.
Go away from them.
But
You
what
can't
if
sue
it's
them.
a client that you don't necessarily work with on a regular basis, but you're an outsourced like service to that person?
And this comes down to state law. It comes down to the exact nature of the relationship. And it's not easy, but these are civil cases that the person who's being harassed can sue for and get money damages. But in order to win those cases, it's not that easy, because the person is going to need to prove in most states some kind of pervasive misconduct, meaning it didn't happen once, but it happened a lot of times, or it happened once and it was extremely severe. Someone got naked. That's extremely severe, even though maybe it only happened once, it would probably still count.
That's horrendous.
But my point is, this is not the same world as assault. Okay, sexual harassment it varies from state to state. It is an employment issue, so it's going to be the type of lawsuit you can file if you have an employment relationship with someone. It's not going to work every time.
Okay.
And it's important if you feel that you've been the victim of something like this.
Just speak up, right?
Speak up.
Okay.
But that's when you might want to call a lawyer even before you go to human resources or something.
Okay.
Because
to get the advice.
Well, yeah,
we're out of time.
Okay.
Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you. This is good information. We'll have to have you back on and continue the conversation. But I think the take-home message, obviously, is have your lawyer in your back pocket. So if something should happen at work or otherwise, you're prepared, right?
Very good. Yep.
Okay.
You learned. A+.
Thanks, Elura. Thank you.
Thanks, Mindie.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day. Stay dry. Join us next week. Bye-bye.